The rent goes up again, and not by a lot, just enough that you notice it, just enough that you do the math for 10 minutes and then stop because the math does not end anywhere good. You tell yourself it is temporary. You tell yourself the market will correct. You tell yourself that everyone is in the same situation right now and that waiting is a reasonable strategy and that your time will come. And then the lease renews and the number is higher again. Here's what nobody told you during that conversation. The rental cycle is not a phase you pass through on the way to something better. It is a structure, and it was built with specific exits and specific walls. And the people who designed it were not thinking about your timeline. They were thinking about theirs. Most people who rent for more than 5 years do not do so because they chose to. They do so because every time they got close to the exit, something moved it. The deposit was too large, the rates went up, the rules changed, the moment was wrong. The salary was almost there, but not quite. And year after year, the cycle absorbed them back in, quietly without drama, the way a current takes something that was almost on shore. You are not weak for still renting. You are navigating a system that was never designed to make the exit easy. The advice that says simply save more, simply earn more, simply stop spending on small things, is being given by people who have never had to calculate how many years of small expenses equal a down payment on a 2-bedroom in the city where your job actually is. So the question is not whether the system is unfair. The question is how to move through it anyway, how to find the 10 decisions, the 10 moves that most renters never make, not because they could not, but because nobody showed them the board. There are 10 moves, and every one of them is something you start doing differently, not harder, differently. Move 1. Stop treating the deposit as the only number that matters, because most people stall there. They see the figure, they calculate how long it will take, and they measure every month against that gap until the deposit becomes the wall, and the wall becomes the reason nothing else moves. The deposit is not the wall. The deposit is one of 4 numbers. The others are the loan-to-value ratio your bank will accept, the debt-to-income ratio that determines your borrowing ceiling, and the actual monthly payment compared to your current rent. In many markets and for many profiles, the monthly mortgage payment on an entry-level property is not dramatically different from the rent on a comparable one. The deposit is real, but it is not the only door. The people who exit the rental cycle first are not always the ones who saved the most. They are the ones who understood all 4 numbers and moved on the one that was actually movable for them. Move 2. Understand that your credit file is a document someone else is writing about you right now, not next year now. Every payment you make or miss, every credit inquiry, every utilization percentage on every card is being assembled into a profile that will be read by a mortgage underwriter who will never meet you and who will decide in 40 seconds how much of a risk you represent. Most renters do not check this document until they apply, and by then the story has already been written. The errors are already in there, the forgotten account from 3 years ago is already in there, the month you were 2 weeks late because of a direct debit failure is already in there. The move is to read your own file before the lender does, not once but every few months. Correct what is wrong, understand what is being said about you in a room you were never invited to. Because the underwriter is not evaluating your character, they are evaluating your file, and those 2 things are not always the same document. Move 3. Stop waiting for the perfect property and start buying the strategic one, because there is a version of homeownership that lives in your head with the right number of rooms, the right neighborhood, the right light in the kitchen in the morning. That version is real and it is worth wanting. It is also, for most first-time buyers, not the first purchase. The people who escape the rental cycle are not always moving into their dream home. They are moving into their first asset, a smaller property, a different neighborhood, a place that works financially, even if it does not work emotionally the way the imagined version did. The gap between the property you want and the property you can buy is the gap the rental cycle lives in. Every year you wait for the first to become affordable, you pay rent that builds someone else's equity and not yours. The strategic property is not settling. It is the move that gets you on the board, and once you are on the board, the next move is entirely different. Move 4. Learn what your landlord knows about leveraging equity that your bank forgot to mention. Your landlord, in most cases, does not own one property outright and live off the rent. They own a portfolio, they refinance the first property to fund the deposit on the second, they use the equity in the second to access the third. They are not richer than you because they earned more, and in many cases, they are not richer at all in the traditional sense. They are leveraged. They understood that property can borrow against itself, and they use that mechanism repeatedly. This is not secret information, it is public. It is the architecture of how most private landlords built what they built. The fact that it was never explained to you in a room with free coffee is not an accident. A tenant who understands leverage becomes a buyer, and a buyer eventually becomes a landlord. The cycle prefers you not to make that transition. Move 5. Stop treating the mortgage broker as a service and start treating them as an intelligence source, because most people go to a broker once with a specific property in mind to find out if they can afford it. That is the wrong sequence. The broker becomes useful before the property search, not during it. A broker who is worth their fee will tell you exactly what your borrowing capacity is today. They will tell you what it would be in 12 months if you made 3 specific changes. They will tell you which lenders are currently favorable to your employment type, and they will tell you which products exist that your bank's website does not show you. That conversation held a year before you are ready changes what ready means. Most people find out too late what they could have done earlier. The broker is not a last step. They are a compass, and you should use them as one. Move 6. Recognize the emotional tax of renting and stop paying it quietly. There is a cost to renting that does not appear on the bank statement, and it is the cost of impermanence. The landlord can sell, the lease can end, the neighborhood you built a life in can be taken from under you with 2 months' notice and a politely worded letter. That impermanence is not neutral. It produces a low-level background anxiety that most renters carry for years without naming it. It affects decisions. It makes people reluctant to invest in a space they do not own. It keeps them in a psychological holding pattern, treating their current address as temporary even when they have lived there for 4 years. The move is not to suppress the anxiety, but to redirect it. Let the discomfort of impermanence become the energy that drives the preparation. Not panic, not paralysis, just direction. Move 7. Build a parallel file that the bank did not ask for but will respect, because banks assess you on formal income, payslips, tax returns, declared figures. If your income is partly informal, partly freelance, partly in the gap between categories, the formal assessment will undercount you, and it happens routinely, and most people accept the number they are given as if it were a verdict. The move is to document what the bank's form does not have room for. Consistent savings history, side income with paper trails, assets that are not liquid but are real, a letter from an accountant who can speak to the trajectory and not just the snapshot. The lender is reading a file, and if your file only contains what they asked for, it only tells part of the story. A well-prepared applicant does not just answer the questions, they anticipate what the underwriter needs to see, and they provide it before being asked. Move 8. Stop calculating affordability the way the bank does and start calculating it the way an investor does. Because the bank asks if you can afford the repayment while the investor asks a different question. They ask what the asset will be worth in 10 years. They ask what the rental yield would be if the property were tenanted. They ask whether the location is gaining infrastructure and population and employment. They ask whether the price reflects the asset or reflects the moment. Most first-time buyers look at a property and see a home, while an investor looks at the same property and sees a position. The two perspectives are not mutually exclusive. You can want to live somewhere and simultaneously evaluate whether it makes structural financial sense. The buyers who move fastest are the ones who can hold both questions at once. Would I want to live here, and would I want to own this regardless? When the answer to both is yes, that is not a coincidence. That is due diligence. Move 9. Understand that timing, the market is not a strategy, it is a reason to stay still. Every year in every market, there are people who did not buy because they were waiting for prices to fall, and some of them were right for 1 year, and most of them were wrong for 5, and while they waited, they paid rent. The principle that professionals use is not market timing, it is time in the market. The question is not whether this is the perfect moment to buy, but whether you are financially ready to hold a property for long enough that short-term fluctuations become irrelevant. Property held for 10 years in most developed markets has historically appreciated. Not every property, not every market, but the pattern is consistent enough that the risk of waiting is for most people larger than the risk of buying imperfectly. The rental cycle does not pause while you look for the optimal entry point. It continues charging you for the wait. Move 10. Accept that the exit from the rental cycle will feel uncomfortable before it feels right, because the deposit will be more than you are comfortable with, and the commitment will be longer than anything else you have ever signed, and the responsibility will be heavier than a lease. There will be a moment, probably between the offer being accepted and the keys arriving, when the weight of it is genuinely frightening. That discomfort is not a signal that you made a mistake. It is a signal that the decision is real, because decisions that do not cost anything do not change anything. The rental cycle is comfortable in the way that a holding pattern is comfortable. Nothing crashes, but nothing lands either, and you circle the same altitude for years because landing requires a commitment that circling does not. The people who exit are not the ones who were more certain, and they were not less afraid. They simply decided that the discomfort of the decision was smaller than the cost of one more year in the pattern. One honest thing before this ends. These 10 moves will not fix a broken market, and they will not lower interest rates or build more housing or close the gap between wages and prices that opened over the last 20 years. What they will do is change your position inside the market as it actually exists. Not the market you wish existed, but the one you are operating in today. You may still need more time, you may still need one more year of preparation, one more change of circumstance, one more piece to fall into place, and that is real. And that is not failure. But the rental cycle does not get to keep taking from you while you prepare. It does not get to keep absorbing your income and returning impermanence in exchange. It does not get to keep moving the exit every time you get close. You now have the 10 moves, not the motivation, the mechanics. The cycle was designed before you arrived, and you are not inside it because you were weak or because you were wrong. You are inside it because nobody showed you the exit. Now you have seen it, and what you do with that is yours.